Welcome to Unit 7.2. In this unit, we're going to learn how to change text that's in one column and separate into separate columns. Let's look at this example. The name and surname are in one column. If I wanted to separate the name and surname, this is what we do. You could select the whole column. Now, first of all, let me explain what a delimiter is. A delimiter is something that separates. So our delimiter in this case is a space. That is what's separating the name and the surname. It doesn't always have a delimiter, which I'm going to explain once we've done this exercise. Once you've done this, we go to our data ribbon, and there's an option to say text to columns. So it does exactly what it says. It takes text and it splits it up into columns. We do have a delimiter, so I'm going to choose delimited. Next. And here you're able to choose the type of delimiter. And so in this case, in our case, it's a space. Sometimes, for example, if you want to split up dates, which are normally, day, month, year, split up by a slash, you would have to put it in other. You'll often hear the word CSV file. It stands for comma separated values. So in other words, it would be Excel, comma, training, comma, spec-on, and you would say split up with the comma separated values, and it would split into separate columns. But in our case, it is a space. As I tick the space, you can already see down here how it is splitting up. Click on next, and I'm just going to leave it in a general format and finish. And you'll see it splits up the name and the surname. If, for example, there is no delimiter, so for example, sometimes you'll have a code, and let's say there's an R at the end, and this one perhaps has an A at the end. I often get asked, how do you take off something in the front or the end? For example, the R might mean rail and the A might be air freight. So I'm going to highlight, data, text to columns. This time we can't choose delimited because there is no delimiter, but I'm going to choose fixed width. Click on next. And with fixed width, you tell it by clicking where to break. I could break any number of places here. If you click by mistake, you can just double click and it will remove it. So I'm splitting there just to remove the R and the A at the end. Next, leave it on general and finish. And then I could do various formula or pivot table with that particular symbol there, because that's telling me how many rails and how many A's. There is something else that you use text to columns for, and that's not necessarily to split up data. Often if you've, let's say, typed the date the wrong way around, as we spoke about earlier. So in this case, you can actually see the dates on the left-hand side. It's not picking it up as a date. How would I correct this? And especially if I had about 4,000 of them. First of all, look at the format that it's in. The way it's sitting now is year, day, month. Let's go text to columns. We're not using it to split up data, so I'm going to say next, deselect everything here, and next again. So what we're after is step 3 of 3. I will choose date here, and you don't choose the date format you want to see it in. You choose the date format that it's currently in. In this case, year, day, month, and finish. And what happens is it corrects the date to your current system date settings. It's a fantastic feature for fixing up thousands of records, especially if the dates are wrong. One of the other things I find in Excel, if you type a really long number, it will go into the scientific formula, or scientific format rather. You may think, and logically you should be able to go to home and say text here, because you're not really going to formulate with it, but it doesn't actually work. In order to do this, we're going to go back to data, back text to columns, next, back to step 3, change to text. When you change to text here, it will convert that into text. By the same token, sometimes you'll find some systems download data all in a text format. So what will happen is sometimes you will do like a formula. Let's just say we were adding up those values there. And when you enter, it just keeps the formula instead of giving you the answer. What's happened there is there's a text format in the background. What you'd need to do is select that column, text to columns, next, next, and this time make it a general number format and finish. And it will then revert back to formula as opposed to text.